Hi Yogi, it's Bri. Welcome to week 3 of 30 days of mindful movement here on Ala Yoga's YouTube channel. Week 3 is all about fire. So for this practice, which will be a Power Vinyasa practice, we'll really focus on building heat, strength, awareness around inversions, and really using all of that to transform our practice. But remember that it takes practice to achieve any sort of transformation. So don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't happen right away. Don't forget to subscribe to Ala Yoga's YouTube channel and comment below. Let's get started. We're going to start on our backs. Make sure you have your block handy, just off to the side. Go ahead and lie down. Pull your knees into your chest and just give yourself a nice loving squeeze. You can hold on to your shins or your knees pulling in, or you can wrap your arms and hold on to opposite elbows. Rocking from side to side, just releasing any unneeded tension from the lower back muscles. And just taking a moment to give yourself not only this physical hug, but a mental hug. It's so important to start your practice with the idea of practicing compassion for yourself, knowing that you are in fact exactly where you need to be. And any transformation or growth that comes out of practicing yoga just adds to that. Take a deep inhalation. Sigh it out. Go ahead and place your feet flat on the mat with your knees bent. Grab your block and place your block between the thighs. If you find that the block is too narrow and your knees are way too close, they're not even hips distance, then you can take the block more the medium way and hug the block. What this does is it engages the adductors, the muscles in the inner thighs, that really help you to find Mula Bandha, which is that lifting of the pelvic floor muscles. Keep firming in with the inner thighs, but also use your outer hips. So squeezing from the outer hips in as well. Make sure your feet are in a position where your shins are in a nice straight line from the knees down to the tops of your feet, and your feet are parallel. Take your hands up and overhead. Take a deep inhalation here. Let the ribs flare, and then exhale. Draw your ribs and navel in, squeezing the block. Lift your head and your shoulders up, taking your arms forward. If it's too much for your neck, draw your chin to your chest. If you want a little more challenge, look up towards the sky. Now, second part to this, keep lifted. You're going to inhale, extend the legs at an angle, pointing the toes, squeezing the block with the inner thighs and outer hips. Inhale, exhale. Third part to this is lowering the heels down almost to the mat. Flex your feet this time. Woo, feeling the core grip, but squeeze the block. Then inhale, fourth part, pull the heels in towards the glutes, put the feet back down, and exhale, lift up higher. Whew, drop all the way back. So 4 or 5 parts to our core work to begin. Let's do it a few more times. Inhale, stretch the arms overhead. Keep squeezing the blocks with the outer hips, inner thighs. Exhale, lift shoulder blades off the ground, arms forward. Part 2, inhale, extend the legs, point the toes, squeeze in. Part 3, flex the feet, lowering the heels down to that half boat position. Woo. Inhale, put the heels or pull the heels in, put the feet down. Exhale, lift up higher. We'll do that whole thing 3 more times. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, lift the shoulders up, arms forward. Part 1. Part 2, inhale, extend the legs, point the toes, squeeze the thighs. Part 3, flex the feet, half boat pose. Inhale, pull the heels in, put the feet down. Last part, lift up higher. Drop back. 2 more rounds. Reach the arms overhead. Inhale, exhale, lift up, arms forward. Inhale, extend the legs at an angle, point the toes, squeeze the thighs. Keep squeezing the thighs, flex the feet, lower the heels down. Inhale, pull the heels in, put the feet down. Exhale, lift up higher, and drop back for a moment. Great job. You have 1 more round. You've got this. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, lift the shoulder blades off the ground. Inhale, point the toes, extend the legs at an angle, squeeze the thighs in, flex the feet. This is the hardest one. Heels almost to the ground, then pull the heels in, put the feet down, exhale, lift up higher, and drop back. You got it. Hopefully your core is feeling warm, but you've noticed maybe through this exercise that it's not just about the frontal core. You probably felt with the block between the thighs that your legs really work hard to help you support the entire body. Keep the block where it is. Just push it back so that it's even with the front of the thighs, and then pull the heels or the knees in towards the chest. Rock from side to side. We're going to keep the block between our thighs a little bit longer. Then taking the arms forward, just begin to rock up and down vertically along the length of the spine. This is not going to be easy, and you might have to use your hands. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can stand onto your feet into Uttanasana without actually using your hands. And if you need to use the hands, do so. The block still between the thighs, the feet are hips distance and parallel. Fingertips underneath your shoulders. Inhale to a flat back. You might have to have the fingertips on the shins. Now, the block is so important here because what it's teaching you is how much your leg muscles should be working. So when you squeeze in with the block, it's not just squeezing in with the inner thighs. You want to feel the energy of the outer glutes. Huge muscles in the body, 3 muscles really. They're firming into the midline. Okay, a little bend in the knees, grab a hold of opposite elbows and fold. Engaging the adductors or the inner thighs and the outer hips or the glutes is so important to supporting your pelvis. And in supporting your pelvis, all of those pains in the knees and the joints around the hips and the low back start to go away because you're engaging the supportive muscles. If you need a little more sensation, lift the kneecaps, engage the quads, draw the ribs, the navel in. Then inhale to a flat back. Plant the palms and just do a little waddle step back towards downward facing dog. Make sure you've moved the feet back away from the hands enough. If needed, put a little bend in the knees. Draw the frontal ribs in, spread the shoulder blades wide, and firm the forearms in towards one another. Now, you might be feeling like, when are we going to get rid of this block? This is really hard. But in order to actually have any sort of transformation in our bodies and our practices, learning new things should be hard. And through that process, maybe they get easier. So right now, I have weak legs. I've always had weak muscles in the legs, or lazy ones. And the block helped me quite a lot. So here, looking back at your legs, you really get to see what's going on. Firm in through the inner thighs, but the outer hips firm in as well. And the navel draws in. Lift your quads. Root the heels heavy towards the earth. Now you're really going to feel this in plank. Inhale, shift forward into plank. Shoulders over the wrists. Step your feet back so the balls of the feet are underneath your heels. The tendency is to sag the hips. This is not just because of a lack of core engagement. It's also a lack of leg engagement. So firm the inner thighs in towards the blocks, the outer hips in, and think about lifting the block up just slightly towards the sky. Keeping the legs disengaged. Inhale, shift forward, out to the tips of the toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Even in up dog, this helps. Try to roll the block up towards the ceiling as you inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more like that. Inhale, shift forward into plank, squeezing the block. Exhale, keep the squeeze as you lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, roll the block up towards the ceiling for up dog. That'll keep the pelvis safe. Exhale, downward facing dog. 1 more time. Inhale, shift forward into plank. Squeezing the block. Exhale, chaturanga. Rolling the block up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Great job. You deserve it. Move the block off to the side for now. We're not done with it. So we've learned now in your down dog, just hold here, breathe. But we've learned now that firming the inner thighs in and the outer hips in helps support the pelvis, helps to engage all the muscles around. Now we're going to work on jumping forward, getting up possibly into a handstand. The last thing that we need to work on is the idea of descending the femur bone. So I want you to bring your feet together. Your femur bone is your thigh bone, the one that's connected to your pelvis, between your pelvis and your knee. When you hop up into a handstand, you want to think about pulling it up into the pelvis. That'll help to lift your hips. So looking at your right foot, flex your right foot and hover it off the ground, pulling your right thigh bone up into the pelvis. Notice how the right side of the pelvis lifts up. Now keep pulling it up, pull the navel in, step your right foot just slightly forward of your left. Now do the same thing with your left foot. Flex, lift, and step it slightly forward of the right. Woo. I feel that in my core. Do the same thing with the right foot. Pull it up, and we're slowly stepping our way to the front of the mat. Right foot forward of the left, left foot forward of the right. Maybe one more time. Right foot parallel to the left. Great job. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rising all the way up towards standing. Exhale, turn the hands out, sweep them behind your back, interlace your fingers. This will be a nice little counter for your shoulders. Press the palms together. Inhale, lift the heart up high. Exhale, bend your knees into chair pose. Really working the hamstrings. The hamstrings need to engage a lot of the time, but they help us bend our knees. Moving the knees back. Inhale, lift your heart once more. Exhale, folding down, sweeping the hands down towards the mat. Inhale to a flat back. You might need to step the feet back a little bit or put a little bend in the knees to plant the palms flat. We're going to go back to plank or to down dog the same way we came forward. It's much harder from a fold. So push down through the hands, pull the ribs, the navel in. Gaze either back towards the legs or between the wrists. Flex your right foot as you inhale. Hover your right foot up off the ground. Pull it up, pull the low belly in, and step it back behind the left foot. Do the same thing with the left foot. Pull it up, step it back behind the right foot. You get it now, hopefully. Up and back, up and back. Then from down dog, inhale, shift forward into plank. Your feet are together. Pretend the block is still there. Feel the inner thighs grip, the outer glutes grip as you lower down into chaturanga. Roll the inner thighs up as you come into upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Great job. Now that you understand the idea of descending the femur bone, grab the block, place it between your thighs. This is going to help us take all three of those actions together. Firm in towards the midline with your inner thighs, in towards the midline with the outer hips. Look forward, step the feet slightly forward. Come up high onto your toes, bend the knees. This is your landing position. We're gonna try to keep our legs straight. You're gonna push off your feet, pull the thigh bones up, lift the hips, land back down. If you need to, you can bend the knees, but pull the thigh bones in, keep the block between the thighs. One more time, up and back down. Now try to go up and land at the front of the mat. The block does make it a little bit heavier. Make sure you're using a foam block. A wood block would make it really heavy. Then inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Firming into the block. Inhale, rising up. Tadasana. Exhale, sweep the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Keep firming into the block as you inhale, lift the heart up high. Exhale, sit back into that chair pose. Inhale, really lift the hands up off your buttocks. Exhale, fold it down. Sweeping the hands down towards the mat. Inhale to a flat back. Now you can always just waddle it back to down dog. Or like I said before, this is much harder to do the reverse, so doing the handstand hop from the front of the mat. So create a little bit of space between the hands and the feet. Put the hands down, draw the ribs and the navel in. Rise high to your toes, put a little bend in the knees, and see if you can just pull your thigh bones up. Lift the hips up and over. Try it. 2 more. 1. Well, that's a little bit higher. 2. And maybe take it back, bent knees, down dog, through the vinyasa. Great job. We'll do that one more time. You can always take the block out if you're feeling like it's just too hard. Just remembering to pretend that it's there. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out. Then step your feet just slightly forward 3 times. Inhale, rise to the toes. Bend the knees. Try to keep the legs straight. Hop up, hips over. Land back down. Hop up, hips over. Land back down, pull the thigh bones up, and maybe landing softly front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Last moments with the block. Inhale, rising all the way up towards standing. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And just take a moment. Let the shoulders drop down the back. Relax your jaw, your mind. That was challenging. But I do believe these little tips can help you transform your practice. Deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out. All right, now's the time to move the block off to the side. It's not the last time we're going to use it, so keep it handy. It probably won't go back between the thighs, so bring the big toes to touch, a little space between your heels. Hands by your side, bend the knees, tap the ground. Inhale, reach the arms up, Utkatasana chair pose. Inhale, find length. And as you exhale, sit your butt all the way down to the mat. We're going to come back to the ground for some core work. Go ahead and lay down onto your back, pull your knees into your chest. So the next arm balance that we're going to try is called crow pose or bakasana. And it requires a lot of strong core engagement. So you're going to take your right knee into your chest, pull it in by interlacing the fingers over the knee. Try to keep the right knee in, point the right toes, and pull the right heel down towards the right buttock. Now, as you release the hands from the knee, keep the knee into the chest. Reach the arms overhead. Inhale and exhale. Reach the arms forward, lifting your nose up towards the right knee. Flex your left foot and slowly, keeping the right knee pulling into the chest or towards the nose, extend your right leg forward, hovering it off the ground. Whew. Then pull your left knee into your chest, pull it in nice and tight, keep the nose pulling in, then reach the arms forward again, flex the right foot, and extend the right leg forward. So you're feeling the right heel pushing, the left knee pulling in. So we're going to keep our shoulders lifted, and we're going to do that switch. Right knee in towards the nose, left leg extends a few times. Ooh, I'm shaking. Pull the left knee into the nose, point the toes, extend the right foot, flex the toes. Good. And then switch. Switch. Having trouble with the coordination. Switch. Switch. Two more. Switch. And switch. And relax all the way down. Great job. So really what you're hopefully feeling throughout this practice is it's not just about core work or the core. It's about the legs. It's about the shoulders. It's everything. So pull your knees into your chest equally. Lift your nose up towards your knees. You're using your hands right now. Point your toes, pull your heels towards your buttocks. Now, can you reach your arms forward, but keep your knees in? Yes, your butt is off the ground, your sacrum's off the ground, your shoulders are off the ground. Hold it 5. Spread the shoulder blades. 4, pull the knees in more. 3, 2, and 1. Dropping all the way back. Great job. Rock and roll it up to seated. Then into a little malasana toe squat. Open the knees out wide, hands underneath your shoulders, lift your butt up, put your knees on your triceps, and see if you can begin to feel what we just felt on our back. So you're going to tip forward, round the upper back, and just point one set of toes, lift one foot up off the ground, pull the heel to the butt, and really try to pull in. And maybe you do the same with the other. That's the key to your crow. Either step or jump it back through the vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up and back. Bend the knee, open your hip. Exhale, bring your knee forward and step your right foot forward. Place your left knee down onto the ground and straighten your right leg, coming onto your right heel. Inhale to a flat back. This is Ardha Hanumanasana. Exhale, folding down. Finding a bit of space in that right hamstring that we just used so much. Then inhale to a flat back. Exhale, take your fingertips underneath your shoulders. Take a deep breath in. Round your upper back and pull your right thigh bone back into the hip socket. That'll make it easier to hover your right foot up off the ground. And maybe it's just a quick lift. Maybe you hold it. Tuck your left toes under, staying on the fingertips to reach your right leg up and back. Flattening your palms, keep your right leg straight and your hips squared. Take a deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, bring your right knee once again between the elbows. Pull the right heel up, pull the right thigh bone into the hip socket to lift the hips. Then spin to the pinky toe edge of your left foot and flip your dog over. We're working into the flow now. Inhale, lift your heart up nice and high. As you exhale, pull the ribs and navel in. Stack your arms, your hips, and pull your right knee into your chest. Really finding the point of the toes again, pulling your right knee up towards the chest as high as you can. Step your right foot forward and stand into a handstand prep position. Now, making sure that your right foot is just slightly back towards the middle of the mat, flatten your palms down. So that straight leg, the lifted leg, stays straight. The bottom leg is actually going to bend, and we're going to create the same shape as we go towards a handstand that we did on our backs and that we did from a plank position. So if you need a look, take a look up here. My left leg stays straight, the toes are pointed. I draw my ribs and navel in, gaze between the wrists. Rise to the ball of your right foot, bend the right knee, and I'm going to pull the right heel to the buttock and bring the right foot back down. Okay, so I'm also thinking about magnetizing the right thigh to my chest. This is going to really help you find the front body engagement you need for a handstand. Try that a few times. If you can hold the shape, pull the ribs in. One more time, hop up and step it back through the vinyasa. Downward facing dog. And let's do the other side. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Bend the knee, open the hip. Exhale, find that shape that we're looking for upside down. Pull the knee in, step your left foot forward. Place your right knee down, straighten your left leg coming onto the left heel. Flex your left foot as you inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, fold. The hamstring is saying thank you because we're using it quite a lot. Then inhale to a flat back, fingertips underneath your shoulders. Round or dome your upper back. That's protraction of the shoulders. First, pull the left thigh bone back into the hip socket. That'll give you the strength and shorten your leg a bit to lift it. Then see if you can lift it up. If it can stay lifted, lift the right knee up, reach the left leg up and back, flatten the palms, keep the left leg straight. Point the left toes as you inhale. Exhale back into that fire position. I really think it looks like a thunderbolt. Pull that left knee in towards the chest, round the upper back. That's it. From here, spin to the pinky toe edge of your right foot and drop your left foot back behind you. A nice counter. Open the heart, reach the left arm up and overhead, flip dog. Exhale, stack the arms and the shoulders, stack the hips, and pull your left knee into the chest. Left toes pointed. How slowly can you step your left foot forward, rising up into a handstand prep position. Left foot to the middle of the mat, hands underneath the shoulders, right toes pointed, ribs in, gaze between the wrists. Inhale to the ball of your left foot, bend the left knee, and once again hopping up, pulling the left heel in towards your glute. Do that a few times. Right toes reach up, left heel in towards the glute, magnetizing your left thigh towards your chest, even your left kneecap towards your chin. And then stepping back through the vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in here. Sigh it out. You're doing great. We're almost there. Come down onto your shins for a second. I'm going to show you one of my must-dos every time I practice to strengthen and lengthen the muscles in my shoulders equally. It's down to dolphin from downward facing dog through something called turbo dog. So you're going to come into down dog. Turn the hands out so the webbing of the thumbs face forward. Squeeze the elbows in. You could even turn the eye of the elbows slightly forward. That'll help to keep the space around the neck nice and long. And slowly lower the elbows almost to the mat. You can see me shaking. And then all the way down. And then we'll come back up. Let's try it out. Come into downward facing dog. Align your webbing of your thumbs forward. Turn the eye of the elbows slightly forward. Spread the shoulder blades, ribs in. Inhale, exhale slowly, almost down to the mat. Keep squeezing in. The serratus is getting strong. And then lower down simultaneously. Interlace the fingers, press the palms together, elbows a little more narrow. Take dolphin position. Drop your head back. Lengthen both sides of the waist up through the outer hips. Firm the inner thighs in. You can stay here. Take a child's pose, maybe place the crown of your head down and walk into your Shavasana A headstand, or look up and take your hops to Pincha Mayurasana, the final inversion of our practice. Then slowly lower down into your child's pose. If you're feeling like your arms worked, your shoulders are worked, sweep your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, press the palms together. Lift the hips to rise to the crown of your head and just push your hips forward so your chin draws to your chest. Lengthening the back of the neck. You could even lift your hands up and bring them overhead. Inhale and exhale, lowering the hips all the way down. Arms down by your side. Bring your fingertips underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Send your legs out in front of you and lie all the way down onto your back. Lots of fire in this practice, lots of tips for transformation. Hopefully you feel energized, but you're at a place where you can actually begin to cool down so that all of that information can really settle in and become a good part of your practice, a learning experience. Pull your knees into your chest. Happy baby pose, grabbing the pinky toe, edges of your feet with your hands, your elbows to the inner knees. Now, as you pull the knees down with your hands on the outer edges of the feet, use your elbows to push the knees out wide, and then try to press the outer hips forward. All three of those things happening at once will really bring the benefits of the pose into your body and practice. So you're probably feeling it around the glutes, if the glutes are what need it today, maybe the inner groins, possibly the low back. If you want to take it further, you can grab the big toes with the peace sign fingers, open the legs out wide into a V, and just rock from side to side, really bringing the stretch a little deeper into the adductors, those muscles that were working really, really hard to hug the block between the thighs. And then hug the knees back into the chest. Grab your block, put it in your hands. Now for the front of the body, that's also worked really hard. The quads, the hip flexors, the core. You're going to place your feet in a bridge-like position. Knees bent, feet on the mat. Lift your hips up and place the block underneath your sacrum, either the medium height across the low back, or if you're looking for more sensation, take it the long way so it runs from the sacrum down the gluteal fold, which is just a very pretty way to say butt crack. And make sure that your feet are pointing straight. Your knees have not splayed open, so the knees are in line with the hip points. If possible, interlace the fingers around the block. Make sure you're high up on the tip of the shoulders. This will help to release some of the tension across the front of the shoulders and even lengthen the muscles that line the neck, the part of the spine, the cervical spine. If you want to take it further, extend both legs, or one at a time, forward. Coming onto your heels, feet flexed. Make sure the feet don't turn out, so feel the inner thighs rolling into the midline. And just enjoy, if possible, this release across the front of the body. One more deep breath. Sigh it out. Pull the knees back, or the feet back flat on the mat, I should say. Knees bent. Push firmly down through the soles of your feet. Lift the hips up and remove the block off to the side. For Shavasana, I'd like to invite you to place the block the lowest height underneath your shoulder blades. This will really help to just keep the heart open, okay? My head is on the mat, my chest is lifted, my arms are out wide. The block is supporting the lowest part of my shoulder blades, and for some of us, it might just be on the bottom part of the shoulder blades. What you do with your legs is up to you. I want to bring the soles of my feet together and relax in Supta Baddha Konasana. Take a deep inhalation. Open your mouth, sigh it out. I invite you to bottle up this fire that we've sparked today in our practice for any time that you need energy. Although our practice brings these feelings into our body, we can also be the observer and take those feelings, those emotions like today's fire, remember what it feels like, and store it for when we really need it. For now, take a few moments or many moments here in Shavasana. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.